These are the new Paradym drivers from Callaway, and they might just be the best that I've ever tested. But for some of the claims that Callaway are making about them, well, they're going to have to be amazing. Not only that, these drivers are expensive, coming in at £599. Now for that kind of money, you should be expecting something very, very special. We have three different models. We've got the standard Paradym, the X, which is the most forgiving with a slight draw bias, and the low spinning, better player focused triple diamond. I've rigorously tested all three, and as mentioned, there's some pretty interesting results. So behind the ball, these drivers look okay. You can quite clearly see they are split into three separate parts. So you've got the front section, which is titanium, you've got the middle section, which is all carbon, and then the bum on the end, that is titanium as well. In the literature we got beforehand, they actually popped a little bit more. The bluey purple color was a lot more vibrant. It's a little bit more subdued in normal conditions. In the bright sunshine, it comes out a little bit more. I think I'd preferred if it was just a little bit more poppy. They went even braver with it. Shape-wise, when these are on the ground, you can really tell the difference. So the triple diamond, the toe looks like it's flaring a long way open, which will definitely favor most better players. And the X looks absolutely massive, and I think pretty confidence-inspiring if you do struggle to get the ball into the air. The standard Paradym is probably going to be the favorite choice of most golfers. The standard Paradym and the X, these both have bigger bums. They're at 460cc, while the triple diamond is at 450cc. The Paradym also has an adjustable weight in the back. Now, Callaway say this can alter ball flight by 6 yards in either direction, depending on where you put that weight. Now, the most exciting part about this driver can be seen when we flip it over. The weird pattern on the sole of this driver is forged carbon. Now, forged carbon, I literally didn't know anything about before starting to review these drivers. You take lots of individual specks and pieces of carbon, and rather than layering them over each other, they're pressed together and forged. And what Callaway say is this allows more complex shapes. The triaxial carbon construction, which is on the top of this driver and what you see on most drivers that utilize carbon technology, that is where the sheets are just layered on top of each other. And the whole middle section of this driver is completely unsupported carbon. So you've got titanium at the front, titanium at the back, but this whole middle section here, this is all carbon. Now that is genuinely new. The jailbreak technology, which fuses the sole to the crown on Callaway drivers for more stability, that has been altered. It is now just a single bar with a couple of prongs rather than two prongs coming up from the top and the bottom. Apparently it's better. I'm not sure, we'll have to wait and see. The club face as well, that's been engineered even more by artificial intelligence to correct offline shots. So in conclusion, Callaway claim that these drivers have 30% tighter downrange dispersion, that they are more forgiving than last year's Rogue drivers, which I thought were already the most forgiving in golf. They have 15 yards of shot correction thanks to their AI face, but that is not the only claim. Callaway also say the Paradym drivers have the highest core in golf, which translates to they say that this club is the fastest driver in the game today. The quickest ball speeds that you can get, Callaway say, come from this driver. That is quite the list of claims. So the bottom of the driver, what you would call the shelf appeal, actually looks really cool. I'm just not 100% sure on how it looks behind the ball. So firstly, the ball speeds on both the normal Paradym and the triple diamond, they're actually really impressive when tested at full speed. When struck from the center, most of those top brand drivers, they are going to be flying pretty fast. But with these drivers, what's actually surprised me the most is that on off-center strikes, the ball is still flying very, very fast. This is something you're going to see most manufacturers pushing towards, getting more ball speed on off-center hit, so not just out of the center. This allows a manufacturer to say they've got a faster club face, because technically it's faster from all over. So let's have a test and see if the triple diamond, so this is the better player model, the lower spinning model, is actually better than the triple diamond from last year, which is currently in my bag. With all our driver reviews this year, we are mixing it up a little bit. So unless stated, every driver head is tested in 8 degrees, and we're using the Fujikura Ventus shaft, exactly the same specs, exactly the same lofts. What it should do throughout Tech Month, but also throughout the rest of the year, is give us a really good, consistent base of data. For the first data comparison, the triple diamond Paradym versus the Rogue ST triple diamond, the Paradym was quicker by ½ mile an hour. However, the Paradym triple diamond did actually go further than last year's model because of better spin control, and to be honest, it just felt a lot better as well. I'm sorry to interrupt this video, but as I look over this winter wonderland of Manchester gripped in winter's icy embrace, I can't help noticing that over 50% of you watching this video aren't actually subscribed. So if you could hit the subscribe button, wallop the like button, and why don't you give that little bell icon a tickle as well, so when we upload a video you'll be notified. So most golfers, they're going to be going for the Paradym or the Paradym X. I was actually really surprised when I tested the Paradym and the Paradym triple diamond together. The data was actually really close. There wasn't that much to actually split them. The Paradym triple diamond was coming out slightly faster, but I was swinging also a tiny bit quicker with that club. What really surprised me was last year, the feeling of difference between the triple diamond Rogue ST and now the triple diamond Paradym. The Paradym did feel a lot better, and that surprised me because I really like the Rogue ST LS triple diamond, even though it has a stupid name. So I'm not sure how many golfers are actually going to need the triple diamond Paradym over the standard Paradym. For me, the differences weren't that great. The X, however, that is interesting. Now, I tested it in a couple of different ways. First of all, just under 100 miles an hour of swing speed, and I just put the worst, most horrific slice action on the ball, struck it from across the face to really test out just how forgiving it was. And whilst this testing isn't conclusive, I have to say I was reasonably impressed by the results. Certainly on the off-center strikes, it felt really good. And then I set up the Foresight software to Schauenberg Golf Club, which looks to be, I think, probably the tightest golf course on planet Earth. I put the Ventus shaft back in, and I just consistently hit the ball left of target. So for me, I think the draw bias on this driver is something that does work, especially when I started to test it at full speed, so the 120 miles an hour that I was testing the Paradym and the triple diamond at. Honestly, I was just hitting it so far left. Now, out of the 3 drivers, I think it probably felt the easiest to hit. Certainly on the off-center strikes, it was really nice. This is something which I think if you are really struggling to strike the ball or you do slice quite heavily, this is one to keep an eye out for. So we see something really cool in these drivers, something which is actually genuinely new. Performance-wise, we've seen slight changes in ball speed. Nothing massive, but they are there. Also, for me, the forgiveness of these drivers and the way they feel off-center hits is actually really nice. But we can't forget the price of these drivers. You know, this is very, very punchy. So chat to people within the industry, they are saying there are reasons for price increases, and I don't think it's only Callaway that are going to bump up costs this year. There are supply chain issues, there's inflation, obviously there's the stuff that's going on in Ukraine. All of this stuff is driving up prices. Now, how that translates to the everyday golfer, and if they're going to care and if they're going to dip into their pocket for that extra cash for a small improvement in performance, that remains to be seen. Of course, that is up to you guys. Get down to those comments and let us know. In conclusion, I really like these drivers. I like anything which adds something new to the conversation. Are they a step up from last year's Rogue ST models? Yes, I think so, slightly. So they offer a little bit more ball speed from across the face, not really from the center too much. They feel better, in my opinion, and they add a little bit more forgiveness. But is that going to be enough for you guys to dig into your pockets and pay £599 for them? Of course, everything in here is my opinion, but what do you think? Get down into those comments and let us know what you think. Are the Paradym drivers going to be something that you would want to try out? Of course, we have so many more club reviews here on this channel, especially on drivers, so you can check them out here. If you haven't already, become a subscriber to the channel, wallop that like button and hit that little bell icon as well so you get notified of all the videos that we release.